Okay, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna play some Zombie Virus, but I thought I'd play some Illbleed music because I love Illbleed. I would be playing Illbleed tonight. Let's just switch over here real quick. There I am. Hi. I would be playing Illbleed, but I'm having some Dreamcast capturing issues at the moment, so I have to order a VGA to HDMI converter, and you can't. I bought this little shitty thing. So before we get into it, I bought this little shitty thing. You can see that's a little VGA. That's a female. You know how it's a female? Because it has holes. That's seriously how they identify these things. Two, male HDMI, and I was like, cool, I'll be able to take my VGA cable that I bought and plug it into my Dreamcast, plug it into this converter, and plug it into my TV. And no, that was not the case. Now I can plug my Dreamcast into my monitor because it does have a VGA port, but it has no sound because it doesn't have analog audio. So I had to find a very particular one so I can get my Dreamcast going. But it will be worth it because I'm going to play my favorite game of all time. Not my favorite game of all time. My favorite Dreamcast game of all time. Illbleed. So that will be coming up soon. Maybe by Sunday. If not, definitely next week to ring in Halloween. So I just want to say, hey, what's up? I saw that Comic-Con Reviews is in here. How's it going, fam? Cam Psychopath, shit, a stream, can't watch right now, but good luck, boy. Yeah, it's probably late wherever your guys' time zones are. Probably a 7-hour difference. It's 6 o'clock, well, it's almost 7 o'clock where I am, but we are going to play such a crazy game. You can see that I own the disc of this game. And Altered Beast, Tulip. I actually do own Tulip, but it's sealed, and I don't want to open it. And I can't find Samurai Champloo anywhere. But this is a game that is so niche and so uncommon, and it really doesn't deserve to be because it's that good. It's like, if I could describe this game I'm about to play, it's like Crazy Taxi with zombies in the middle of a zombie outbreak. Okay? And it's a bit like an RPG. So I'm going to get all my stream settings perfect. So I will require some feedback, on the audio levels, if it's too quiet, too loud, whatever. But yes, I'm really excited to play this. Not many people have covered this. I don't even know if there's a review out there for this. I guess that's a potential opportunity for me, but anyway, I don't think anyone would care as much as me, but I love this game. It's called the Zombie Virus. So what's cool about PAL games is anytime I play a PAL game on a US console, it gives me different hertz options like NTSC or PAL, and I can test it. And I can alter it, so it's really neat. We're just going to set it to NTSC. Yeah, I'll get that whole 10 cents from reviewing it. I honestly want to review it just because I love this game, and it does deserve more exposure. And I have a feeling that if I don't, somebody else will. And they'll be like, oh, did you hear of this hidden gem? Bitch, I will give you the history on this game. Okay, love the loading screens here. The creepy zombie. It was put out by D3. They were the publisher, but the developer was Vingtet Un Systems Corp. And I think this was the only game they made. But this did come out in Europe. Europe had this brand of really shit, like discount Simple Series games. It was called 505 Street. Should be called 504 Street, but I really am jealous that Europe got all the different cool niche games that we didn't get over here. So I was like, the last stream I tried to do, I was trying to play this game, and I had Zombie Zone, which is Oni Chambara, so I was like, damn. And then I ended up, like, right after that stream, I was like, reading up the history on Oni Chambara. For this stream, we're just going to play on easy, because I haven't played in, like, 4 years. So I've got to get my bearings. Hey, D-Money. Okay, so the setup is you're in this utopia city, and there was some sort of virus that went through the city, destroyed it, and you're an ambulance driver, and you have to go around, like, rescuing people from the zombie outbreak. And what's neat is it kind of has a disaster report or raw danger vibe to it. So you get upgrades, and you can, like, pimp out your ambulance. And there's also some other funny objectives. Oh, Mr. D Money, Headhunter did come out over in North America, but it was on PS2. I don't know if it ever came out on Dreamcast over here. But yeah, that is a very... It reminds me of Hybrid Heaven from the Nintendo 64. Very, very odd little gem. Oh yeah, sponsored by Coke today. So yeah, an earthquake hit the city, it released this virus. But this is one of those games that I feel like will be forgotten over time because the PS2 was probably the most saturated console of all time. There was just thousands upon thousands of games because the system was such a success. And when games got stuck in a region or stuck in Europe or Japan, they got overlooked. And, you know, more people are into modern stuff. I'm into this, like, weird zone between, like, the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2. Like, that's my area of where all my favorite games come from. Yeah, this is one of the best Halloween games. I love playing this during the fall. I think my friend Mark and I just, like, spent 7 hours one day just playing this game because it's one of those games wherever you do one mission and then you just want to do another and just do another and do another. I did include some footage of this game in my Work Time Fun review. So if you watch that, it's at the very beginning of that. Nuker says, any GameCube hidden gems that are worth a look. I'm looking over at my collection, which is down here. I like Pikmin 1 and 2. PN number 3, which was made by Clover Studios. The Ribbit King, which is an obscure golf game. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. Billy Hatcher, which is one of my brother's favorite games. It's made by Sonic Team. Let's see. There's a really weird game that's kind of like a tower defense military simulator called Odama. Not Obama, Odama. And you actually use the microphone to order your troops. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, if you want something like more Halloween-like, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. One of the most unique games to come out for the GameCube and very psychological. Comic-Con is, he's Sherman out on some rum and lemonade. He's all doped out. Okay, so this is just the setup. You're this goofy paramedic in purple shoes, and They're setting it up to where he's like, oh, I've got to go find survivors. And this kind of has some Suikoden aspects to it. Depending on what kind of survivors you get back at your base, you get more expansions and upgrades. So it's pretty neat. I don't know if it fortifies your base in any way, but you definitely get some cool shit for your ambulance. Yes, Snooker, just like Mario Party 7. In fact, I didn't play too many of the later Mario Parties beyond the first trilogy on the 64. Like, only at a party at a friend's house. If they busted out, I'd be like, yeah, let's play. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip this because I want to get straight to the good stuff. So what I really like about this game is it has like this, outside of just being this ginger with purple shoes here, it really has a Parasite Eve kind of soundtrack. And I think you can store different loadouts of vehicles here, so you can see how far it goes back. There's about 5 different loadouts for your car. But right now I've got the basic setup because I'm just learning the ropes. You can talk to your survivors, save your game, you know, adjust things. But I always like it when a game has like a break area where you can just hang out and if you want to learn more about the story or just spend some time like in an armory or a hangar. That's why I've always liked the front mission games or Armored Core. Just spending time customizing things. I can get lost in that. So, she describes basically that the cars have different things, acceleration, specials. You have to shake off zombies or toss them out. You can use turbo, combos, drifting, turning, and survivors. That's all you need to know. I'm ready to go. This is definitely something that could have existed on the Dreamcast. It would fit perfectly with that library. And I wish it was because I have a steering wheel for my Dreamcast that I've wanted to break in for a while. I like how ironic this is. It's called Sunlight City, but it's shrouded in darkness. So all the zombies are kind of a joke in this game until later on. You get different varieties. You have a health bar down there, durability. The top left corner is the hospital, so if it's in danger, or if you just haven't saved anyone in a long time, the morale goes down and people go crazy. And my head is covering up the radar, but I guess you don't really need to see the radar anyway. I don't know if I can get multiple at once. Okay, so circles, back up. Yeah, let's see if I can get multiple survivors at once. Okay, cool. Thank you. And there you have it. Mission 1 and done. So you get different sort of specialists when you rescue them. So I just have 2 civilians. But if I had something like mechanics or doctors, if I had an injured person, that doctor would heal them. Mechanics could like build me things. So we're going to go on back out. This game doesn't waste your time. It's just like go straight back out after you're done. This game opens up quite a bit too. So it says, find a politician. It tells me how many survivors are left inside the town. So there's 43 potential ones. And for the politician to appear, I've got to get 8 survivors. So they'll spawn at after a given number of survivors. Okay, so I got a police officer. Sweet. And the arrow will always point back to base, so I can continually just drive around until my car's full. See, I just got a combo there, so that lady's like, good. Guys, I'm so excited to be playing this game. I've been wanting to cover this game for a while, so I figure, you know, I'll give you all a little taste of what this game is like. And then if you think it's cool enough, maybe I'll do a little more in-depth thing on it. So here's that police officer I saved over here. He's kind of having a breakdown. Hello, White Dragon. This is the zombie virus. I think it has another name. It's part of the Simple series over in Japan. The Simple series was a series of games that cost about 20,000, or excuse me, 2,000 yen. So that's like 20 bucks over here. So it was made on a very low budget, and it had like an ambitious concept. But for some reason, it made it over to Europe and Italy, but it never made it over to the US. So I've had to resort to other means to play this. Hey, Bobby, welcome to the stream, man. This is a good one. As I said, this is like Crazy Taxi in a zombie apocalypse with a lot less offspring and bad religion. Although I could play both of those while I'm playing, but, you know, copyright strikes. I don't think anyone will issue me a content ID on the zombie virus. At least I don't think they would. Okay, so we got a survivor over here. Oh no, did I scare him off? That was a military guy. Okay, cool. We'll pick up one more dude, and then I think the politician will show up. Looks like if you look at my survivor count over there on the left-hand side, that lady I picked up, she's infected. So if I don't get her to the hospital, she will turn into a zombie and attack my other passengers. So I've actually got to book it. Mr. D-Money, I would love to cover the Simple Series games. I've bought the American equivalents of some Simple Series games. Like I've covered, I've talked about Earth Defense Force on my channel before, and I've wanted to cover more things like Oni-Chambara. But there are so many Simple Series B-sides and stuff that got released in Europe that's been translated. The one problem is I would have to order each one of those games internationally. And they were published by 505 Street Games. So yeah, that's my dilemma. Is like I'd like to do a little series on the Simple series, a Simple series, if you will. But I'd have to wait until my channel's a little bit bigger for that, you know. I'd have to be making at least a little bit of money on my channel before I could start importing a ton of games to cover, you know. Oh my gosh, how do I get the zombie off? Oh my gosh, it's fucking me up. Yeah, that zombie just killed me in one go. How do I get him off my car is what I want to know. Okay, I think it continues, though, where I left off, so that's nice. This game is really cool. Right now, my car is absolutely worthless. At the moment, it has no defense and no sort of weapons to protect it outside of just ramming zombies. But this game doesn't waste your time. You can just pick it right back up where you left off. Should I have crashed into the building? That's probably a really good idea. I'll try that next time. Okay, so we got another police officer here. The more police officers I have, the higher the morale gauge goes onto my hospital. Right now, I'm only capable of picking up 2 passengers at a time. Oh my god. Okay, I figured out how to toss off the zombies. So you just gotta flick that analog stick like crazy. White Dragon says I should do an underrated RPG Let's Play. Typically, I don't... Like, my channel, I don't want to do Let's Plays. I like to do live streams because I get to just chat with all the people that show up and, you know, just talk about shit that's going on right now. Let's Plays, I just don't think I have the energy to, like, fake enthusiasm. Like, when I play an RPG, I'm sitting there grinding, I'm chilling out. I just don't want to talk to anyone, you know? I just want to do my thing. But I could review an RPG because then I can just do an overall talk about the game. I mean, I could probably do a video on underrated RPGs, but I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I just kind of like how things are going right now, you know, just talking about obscure games coming out and doing silly shit. I'm in no hurry to rush videos out anymore, you know. I'm just doing shit for fun and to make laughs. And also spotlight some stuff that deserves some attention, really. Nuker asks if I'm a fanboy of zombie games. Stuff like Left 4 Dead, Walking Dead. I like to watch The Walking Dead, but I prefer the graphic novels. I actually did read the graphic novels years before the show came out, and I enjoyed them quite a bit. The show's alright. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid fun. So I don't mind it. It's not something I'm, like, fully invested in. I did love Left 4 Dead when it first came out. I played it non-stop. And I played it on my Xbox 360 of all things before I got it on PC. I did like the teamwork aspect of it, and it's the same reason I like Team Fortress 2. I'm not so much a competitive gamer. I'm more of a let's work together against somebody else kind of gamer. Or a single player dude. I like Dead Rising. Just the first 2. And I mean, like, the second one I'm not really in love with. I like the first one the best. Zombies are just whatever. They're just kind of like a placeholder monster. It's like if you don't have a good idea for an original concept, it's like, whatever. We can just paste in some zombies and call it a day. And they're the easiest thing to program for. Like, the command is follow. Okay, so I got a hot lady in because she gave me a thank you with a heart. That right there was a syringe. If I have an infected survivor, it can heal them a little bit. And hopefully this lady isn't infected. Good. So now I'm going to head back with 2 chicks at the same time. The mini chainsaw in Dead Rising 1. Yeah, that is a ton of fun. You get it from Adam the Clown. If we're talking about good zombie games, you can't get any better than Resident Evil Remake. That's like the last true sort of scary zombie game that I've played. Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil Remake, the Outbreak series. By the way, I spent like maybe a month trying to put together a Resident Evil Outbreak video. And I was going to connect to the fan servers to get it going. But it was such a pain in the ass. Like, when I flew out to Seattle, I specifically picked up a Resident Evil Outbreak Japanese version so I could patch it and play on the fan servers. Just, it didn't work out. It was such a complicated mess to get it up and running, but I love those games. I think that's my politician there. Oh, come on, dude. Okay, so here's the politician I've got to rescue. He was one of the main guys that I believe he allows me to upgrade some stuff. So we're going to find out here soon. Nope, it was just a random civilian. That's strange. I love this loading screen so much. It reminds me of the Evil Dead. Oh, speaking of good zombie games, the Evil Dead games are a lot of fun. The first one, Hail to the King, is more of a survival horror game. The second one is more of a brawler. And the third one is like a survival horror puzzle game. And I absolutely love the third one. If you look up here on the wall, those are advertisements for other Simple Series games right there. That's Scarecrow Kid. I have Scarecrow Kid on one of my hard drives. It's like a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you play as a Scarecrow Kid with chainsaw arms. It's pretty neat. See, doesn't that sound like a cool game? It's like you're going to play as a Scarecrow Kid with chainsaw arms, and I'll charge you $20 for this game. At a convenience store in Japan, you know? That's why I'm so jealous of Japan, is like they had all these great games that were sold at convenience stores for $20. Okay. We've got some new mechanics so we can develop bare bones tires and broad bumper. Now, since I only have one mechanic, I can only do some of the basic stuff here. So I don't know how much that costs. So it's like 40. Okay, so here's what happens. I select what I want to develop, and then I have to go out and kill a certain amount of zombies. So I have to kill 40 or more zombies until it's ready. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I can only develop one thing at a time. When I'm playing this game, it feels like I'm playing some beta or some unreleased game that's never been seen before. It's just one of those games that no one ever talks about. And I've looked. I've tried to find information on this game, and you know, there's a few people here and there that have played it, but I could write facts on this. I could actually contribute something to the video game culture in a positive way for a change. Oh, it would definitely suck to live in Japan. Just because you could play all the cool games, but you probably wouldn't have enough time for it because you'd be working 12-hour days sleeping at your desk. Or you could go full-blown neat, which is, if I ever become a millionaire, that's what I would do. Is I would just go there, get a shitty little apartment, and just spend all my time picking up games. Okay, let's see if I can check my map here. Nuker says we all would. Damn right. I feel like I've been to places in America that represent some of the cool parts of Japan. And I think that's what we do, is like we try and appropriate the cool shit of Japan, like either their good anime or whatever. It can be like video games. We try and take out the best stuff and make it our own. And sometimes we like bastardize it, make it worse. But when I went to Seattle, Seattle is a lot like Japan in many ways, at least climate-wise. You can get a ton of Japanese food. They have Asian grocery stores and retro game shops out the ass that also have import games. I was in heaven when I was over there. And I think that would be like good enough for me, is like if I moved over there, you know, I could fly over to Japan like maybe during the summers and just check it out until I got sick of it or I wanted to go home, and then just fly back to Seattle and enjoy that. But once again, Seattle's also a very expensive place to live. Maybe one day. Okay, so let's see if that mechanic upgraded my... Whoa, hello, nurse. So she's kind of like the record keeper here. My research level is only 1. Here's all the denominations of people I've rescued. What my car loadout is. And I have the small ambulance, so I only have a capacity for 2, but it shows you all the different damage and search range. Search range like expands your map a little bit so you can see more dudes. And like each denomination has a certain attribute here. So the male dudes will boost morale, female will boost morale, soldiers will like increase morale to the max, so like you can have a bigger capacity. Greatly boost morale. Research and development. I mean, like, I've only been playing this game for 30 minutes, and here I've already kind of boosted up my base quite a bit. And that's kind of why I'm jealous of Japan, is like, imagine, I don't know, this is like 2005, and you got the weekend off, or maybe it's summer vacation in Japan. You stroll into a 7-Eleven, you pick up this game for $20, and you just like burn through it in a weekend, and you have a really good memory. But this is a game I keep coming back to over the years. Mr. D Money, the greatest import store that is out there is Amazon. You get so many great deals. You can pick up a lot of the Simple Series games for really cheap on Amazon. I'm planning on getting some more, for sure. While I was in Seattle, I picked up 3 Simple Series games that I just found in a random bin for the under $5. So I was like, shit, yeah, I'll take any of them. One of them's kind of a triathlon where you play as animals. It's a bit like Animal Crossing, but it's a triathlon. And it's like a mini-game fest. And the other one, I think, is just a Mahjong game. And I was like, I don't own a Mahjong game. This would be cool. Okay, let's see if I can get this one dude over here. And then we're going to rush back to the hospital. Oh, good, it's a mechanic. Get in, get in, get in. Okay. One of my dudes is going to turn into a zombie if I don't hurry up. Like, he is fading fast. Cool. Made it. Mr. D Money, you're from Massachusetts. That's awesome. I've always wanted to visit there. A few Japanese import games, luckily. I have a few brick and mortar stores over here. I have, on a rare occasion, picked up a few Japanese Famicom games. And occasionally they'll get in some PAL games. Oh my gosh. Look at all this stuff I can do now. Okay, so I need 5 more zombies to get the bare bone tires, but I can get the broad bumper, the protection bumper, the home lights. I can't wait to see what those are. And I can upgrade to the ambulance medium, so let's go shred some zombies. I think I'm going to just spend a little bit of time just grinding zombie and upgrading. Hey, Comic-Con, if you want to send me that game, and I'll send you an American game, we could set up a little trade, bro. I'd be so happy about that. I would love to get a physical copy of this. Nuker says, high-quality gunplay for Amazon. I've been able to get every component that I've needed for my setup that I use for streaming from Amazon for extremely cheap. One of the biggest things I wanted to do for my channel was cover a lot more Vita games. So I got all sorts of things like HDMI splitters for my Vita TV and power supplies and different capture software, or not software, but hardware for real cheap. And it comes like within 2 days because I have Prime. And Prime is the best deal you can get. I don't have Netflix, but I have Amazon Prime. And I have it for, you know, both streaming TV and movies. And then I also have it for the fast shipping. Mostly the fast shipping. And because, like, if you have Amazon Prime, any game you pre-order, you get 20% off. So I only buy my new games on Amazon Prime. Like, I can get a $40 game for $34. I can get, like, a $60 game for $35. It's, or not 35, but like $40. It's not that bad. Oh, speaking of Super Famicom, I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. D Money. I just got this. I don't know if you can see that, but it's Seiken Densetsu 3, which is known as Secret of Mana 2. The one we didn't get over here. I got that for $5 on eBay. I can patch it with the English translation patch on my Retron and play it. I'm pretty excited about that because I do like Secret of Mana quite a bit. Okay, so now I have bare bones tires. And I can either develop the rocket engine or the protection bumper or the home lights. I want to do the home lights because that looks cool. So I got to kill 80 zombies. Let's see where I can customize this. Maybe I can go to her and customize. Who's this dude? You want to change the parts? Okay, here we go. So it's got a regular engine. We're going to swap on these. Ooh! Okay, so the bare bones tires, they have these little spikes on the end, like a chariot. It decreases my speed, but that damage goes up quite a bit. And that'll be good for upgrading. Alright. I'm loving it. You bought some 5-year manga for £5. Yep. Prime is the best. Nuker says, can I speak moon runes? Not well. I can speak very, very basic conversational Japanese, and that's only with the help of a friend. I had a Japanese friend in college my first semester, and, you know, we just talked with each other for a while, and I had some Japanese DS games, so, like, the first college I went to was, like, in the middle of nowhere, and I had no idea why he was going there. But I was like, oh shit, yes, a Japanese friend. And I fucking played JRPGs and shit, and he chilled. I got a really funny story that I want to share about that dude, too. But I'll save it for another time. But when I play Japanese games, like if it doesn't have a whole ton of text, I use Google Translate. I have the app on my phone. And that's what I did for Rose in the Old Castle of Twilight, as I scanned all the characters, the katakana and hiragana, and I wrote down in like a journal, a notepad of all the bits of the story and all the controls and stuff, and it's a really easy to pick up and play game. And I feel like there's a lot more platformers and shoot 'em ups and stuff that I could definitely get by with. Let's kill some zombies. There is a store nearby. There's a retro game store that's like a few blocks away from me. It sells not import games, but repro games that have translations. So, like, if I wanted to play Star Ocean on the Super Nintendo, translated, they have it. They have the original Clock Tower. They have Radical Dreamers. And I was tempted to get the original Clock Tower because I love that series. Okay, so you can see over to my right hand, you can get a combo meter going, and if I find groups of zombies, I can just like go into one to the other and chain them. And the bigger the chain, the higher the bonus is. And one of the missions is like, get a combo of 80 or get a combo of 100. Okay, so I need to freaking head back to base because my car is all fucked up. One of the things I really should have gotten was the endurance armor. Mr. D Money. Okay, so the first time I got my Dreamcast, I got a Dreamcast when I was, I want to say 13 years old. It was around the time the PS2 came out. But the PS2 was like $300, and because I was in middle school, I didn't have a job or any money. So it was like I could save up and just get the PlayStation 2, no games, no memory card. Or I could spend $100, get a Dreamcast, memory cards, and like 3 games. So obviously I went with the Dreamcast during that time. And I also, like, that Christmas, I asked for a spindle of CDs, and I burned, like, half the Dreamcast library and played through all these games, which I ended up, you know, buying, but the Dreamcast was already dead during that time, so I don't feel as bad. But yeah, I do have a fond relationship with my Dreamcast. Almost too fond. I also listen to this podcast. It's called the Dreamcast Junkyard. Believe it or not, the Dreamcast still has a very active homebrew scene. And there are people constantly making mods for it, like SD card readers and HDMI mods and stuff like that. And that shit fascinates me. I always love it whenever dudes like have an appreciation for a system and they try and make it better. let's see here. I got 38 more zombies to kill. And then I get the sweet lights. You should definitely check out... I don't want to give it away. You know what? Because I might review it. As soon as I get my HDMI converter for my Dreamcast, I'm going to be sitting down and playing me some spooky Dreamcast games, and I cannot wait. The Dreamcast has a very underrated survival horror collection on it. It has some like of the most unique survival horror games I've ever played. Also some of the worst, but most definitely the most unique I've ever played. There's stuff like D2 and Ill Bleed and Blue Stinger and Carrier and The Ring Terror's Realm, which is definitely one of the worst I've ever played, but still fun. And who couldn't forget Resident Evil Code Veronica? Phenomenal game. One of the last great ones in the series. Desperia, yeah. The Dreamcast also had a whole host of visual novels that we didn't get over here. So, that's why I always try and get the word out about whatever scene's trying to translate something or bring something that we never got over here. I love it when people do that. It's like Christmas for me when I find out a game from Japan is getting localized that came out 10 years ago. I mean, the last game I reviewed on my channel was the Silver Case, and that game it's almost 20 years old. It's 17 years old, but I just lost my mind when I heard that was getting localized. And the Silver Case, it was only it came out 2 months after it was announced over here, and I was like, holy shit. So I was following it very closely because I was like, I love Suda51. I love visual novels set in late 90s Japan. And a good murder mystery, always. Is Pac-Man a survival horror? I would say Haunted House for the Atari 2600 is a little bit more in the realm of survival horror than Pac-Man, but I see where you're going with it. When I was a kid, I always thought Pac-Man was a piece of pizza, so I didn't always see it as a man running away from ghosts. I thought it was a pizza that was really hungry and wanted to eat marshmallows and these little popsicles. I was a weird kid. Kamatachi no Yori is another one that's very good. I've never heard of that one. I'll have to check it out. Look at this little dude over here. Just on his arms coming at me. I love the spirit. Oh, by the way, my new lights have been developed, so we're going to get to check out what that's going to be like. Yeah, I would have to say if I had a favorite genre of games, I want to say they're survival horror games, but I don't know how to classify my favorite type. It's definitely these odd, obscure Japanese games that just high ambition Japanese games, I guess I would say. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be entertaining and something that makes me smile. And this definitely makes me smile. The Tank Engine. Industrial Lights. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade the body. We're going to do the protection bumper. I need 80 zombies for that. It's a horror visual novel series. Cool. Recently, I played through the Corpse Party series. I definitely thought the first one was the best one in the series. With the second one being the worst, and the third one was just okay. It was just middle of the road. But the first one is just a solid horror game. So my weight and my search range goes up. Cool. I'm loving this game. I'm gonna have some sweet ambulances by the end of the stream. And I always save. It's just a habit I have. So if that gets annoying, I'm sorry. I grew up playing survival horror games. The first one I ever got to experience... Oh, that is a huge light bar there. The first one I ever got to experience was the original Resident Evil. And it was at a Funko Land, which is now GameStop. It was so weird. I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, and the employee there was like trying to demo the PlayStation original with me and my mom, and he's like, "Here, check out this awesome game. I just picked it up last night." And so he like pops in Resident Evil in the demo machine, and then like he guides me to the first room where the zombie is eating Kenneth, who's one of the STARS member. Hey, that's the politician. And like I just sit there and I'm watching that zombie munching away on Kenneth and then chasing after me, and the controls were really hard for my 5 or 6 year old brain to comprehend. And I was like, Mom, can I play something else? And then like I really became obsessed with it. So like the next year or so, I like asked my mom for that game. I was like, I really want to sit down and try and learn that game. And so I did, and I became hooked. Definitely. Okay, so what does the politician do? Two more politicians. Okay. I think they open up the gate to the other part of the city. I haven't played the original PC98 version of Corpse Party, but I believe most of that was preserved for the PSP version. So it's pretty much the same game, only they updated it with visuals and some voice acting. That's one series that I'm kind of shocked has been around for so long, and that it got a remake so many years later. Man, I'm getting all these mechanics. I'm not complaining. Mechanics rule, man. Alright, I'm gonna get this one dude and we're gonna head back. Mr. D Money, I used to go to Funkoland like every weekend. I wouldn't have money for many games, but I'd definitely go there and I'd pick up a list and I'd try and like scale like what I had for trade-in and like divide it by half or a little less than half. And I'd try and like compile all the games I had for trade to try and get like one game that I really wanted. And I always ended up going with RPGs because RPGs held their value longer and also gave you a ton of gameplay hours for your money. More bang for your buck. And I always rented the survival horror games on the weekends and would scare myself silly. Nowadays, like, I'm not scared by really anything. I'm more fascinated by survival horror, and I like the extremes some of the survival horror games go to. and the creativity that came out of the older stuff. Okay, so I've got to get 7 more survivors to get more politicians. So what we're going to do is do a little bit of zombie grinding, and then we'll go rescue people. I'm using the boost here. Hey, Wild Potato. You're showing up just in time. This game is getting pretty good. A brief explanation is what I'm playing is like Crazy Taxi with zombies in it. And RPG elements. And it was never released in America. I like how cheap that looks too. Like when a zombie hangs on to your car, they just put a little JPEG of zombie hands at the top of the screen. It's like something the Wii would do and try and pass off as high quality. Right now I'm trying to kill some zombies so I can upgrade my ambulance to save more people. So I can then get more politicians that will open the gate and take me to the first boss fight. Bobby, this is a PS2 game. It's a PAL version, but it belongs to the Simple series, which were a budget series of games in Japan that were sold for like $20 a piece. And it got ported over to Europe, and hopefully it was sold for $20 in Europe and not 40 or something. This is definitely a good $20 game. I would have paid $20. The original Katamari was a $20 game over here in North America. And then I believe We Love Katamari was $40. Okay, I need to take a shortcut. Bobby thought it was 64. It does have very low polygons and very muddy textures, but I think it just adds to that atmosphere of a low-budget horror game. I mean, you gotta think about it. The developers of this game had to have had a sense of humor. A morbid sense of humor, but a good one nonetheless. Wild Potato, yes. EDF. That's EDF and Onichambara are the two most well-known Simple Series games. Onichambara, by the way, a little bit more popular than EDF is over in Japan. Onichambara has like 2 movies and 6 games, or at least she appears in like 6 or 7 games total. EDF it does all right for a low-budget game over there, but I think EDF is now more popular over here. I mean, we even got an Americanized version of EDF, Insect Armageddon, which is really odd to think. Like, the history of that game is so unique that it went from a budget PS2 game to being ported to the Xbox 360 in North America, to then becoming so popular on that system that it got an American-developed version, and then that game wasn't as well received, so the Japanese took it back over and then released 2027, I believe, and then like 4.1, and then EDF 5. Yeah, that's another good series that I think is really underappreciated for what it is. It's also a pretty good Halloween game if you like old school, like 1940s sci-fi, like giant things. Mr. D Money says it looks like a Wii game. Yeah, most of my favorite niche obscure games also are on the Wii's library. Because once the PS2 left the scene, guess who took over all the cheap games? And all the Z-list developers, the Wii. The Wii also got some simple series games, but they were just like party games. But I think the Wii was, as it was known as a revolution. Almost everyone, big companies to small, made something unique on that platform. Now, if it controlled good or not, that's a whole nother story, but I love the Wii's library. Very, very weird and unique. Like, the swan songs for the Wii, 3 phenomenal RPGs. Like, one of them's more Castlevania-like. So you got Pandora's Tower, you've got The Last Story, and Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, what a note to go out on for a system. Okay, so now I can head back to the hospital and get my new body. So let's pick up a survivor along the way. Yeah, that's one thing that I've also been collecting for, since really nobody gives a shit about the Wii anymore. And if we're honest, nobody gives a shit about the Wii U except for, like, me, maybe. I've been collecting really odd, offbeat Wii games. One of which was, I think it was Majestic March was the last game I purchased for it. It's a marching simulator made by the creators of Parappa the Rapper. And I was like, what the fuck? How come this didn't get any press? It's made by the developers of Parappa. So I got that game, and I picked up like some really weird stuff like Upuna, Fragile Dreams, the Trauma Center trilogy. I started collecting all the PAL exclusive games because I was so pissed off that we didn't get the sequel to Trace Memory, another Code R. Disaster Day of Crisis was another one that the Europeans got that we didn't get. Ragnarov. There's a translation going on for Captain Rainbow. If I could throw money at the translation for Captain Rainbow to make it happen quicker, I totally would do that. Captain Rainbow looks like my fucking jam. Oh my god. Get off my car! There we go. I was gonna die. Yeah, Wild Potato, it is a lot like them. Honestly, I think them is part of the public domain. I don't see why the EDF guys just don't like bundle in a copy of them with each game. It would be great. Alright, we're going to zoom back to the hospital, but I kind of forgot where it's at. We got another hanger on. Ooh, 20 hit. Oh, yeah. Now I'm dry. It goes a little bit slower if you've taken a lot of damage. Okay, let's pick up these two dudes. Yeah, when you pick up somebody, it shows you where the hospital is on the map, so. Is that a politician? Standing next to the graveyard. You know, the safest spot for anyone in a zombie apocalypse. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Come on. Either I'm gonna die or my two politicians will die and turn into zombies and attack me. Okay, almost there. Just in time. Oh, it wasn't a politician. Okay, so now we've got the upgraded bumper. The protection bumper. I think I'm going to go with the rocket engine or the industrial lights. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's just go with the rocket engine and see what happens. Sounds fun. And we're going to add on that bumper we just got. So it increases my durability, my weight, and it's got some teeth on it. It looks like a bulldozer. Oh, that is awesome. I can't wait to see what it looks like. Oh my god, that is badass. I got these spikes on my little dinky ambulance there, that giant Ghostbusters light bar. And that reminds me of that Dawn of the Dead 2004. The Zack Snyder version. His only good movie. Destroy All Humans did something like that. Teenagers from Outer Space. I thought they included Plan 9 from Outer Space. Might just be an alternate title. Oh, I can't wait to test this shit out. It feels like I'm now playing Twisted Metal. You should hear some Rob Zombie. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, we got another mechanic. Sweet. Speaking of Rob Zombie, I just saw his latest movie. It's called 31. It's a complete hot mess. And I gotta say, I do like Rob Zombie's films. I don't mind what he did with the Halloween remake. Like, I know that everyone's like, oh, I hate Michael Myers' backstory. I was like, yeah, that was the weakest part, but everything else really worked for me. But everyone that I've talked to about The Lords of Salem, which is his fourth film, had hated it, but I actually love it. I think it's like really inspired by old Italian horror films like your Dario Argento and your Lucio Fulci stuff. It's got a really neat aesthetic to it. You know, it's a bit gross in places, but I kind of like that. I'm a very visual guy. Like, if you make a really cool set piece, you could have like 90% of a shitty movie, but if 10% of it is like cool set pieces or like really strange prosthetics, like, I'm all about it. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, I really enjoyed Lords of Salem, but 31 was just absolute shit. Like, what was going on in his mind? I can't believe he got enough funding to make it. Like, if I had put down like 10 grand on that or $1,000 on that, I'd be kind of angry. I think that's the worst part of it. It's like, not only was it a bad movie, but he got his fans to pay for it. Ugh. Yeah, his writing is not very good at all. Every character is hillbilly white trash to the extreme degree. But I think he succeeded the best during The Devil's Rejects. I think his writing style, that very brash and in-your-face, almost juggalo, if you will, writing style works for those characters because they're supposed to be the worst kind of humans you can think of. I really like The Devil's Rejects, and I do enjoy House of a Thousand Corpses. I think visually, House of a Thousand Corpses is far more interesting, but Devil's Rejects is far more traditional horror, like more of a thriller. And I do remember going to see The Devil's Rejects in the theater, and the silence that just fell across the theater when the credits hit. Like, I mean, I'm from the Midwest, so like just I don't know what these people were expecting when they were strolling into a Rob Zombie film, but damn. You know, I did see people walk out through some of the scenes in there that got a little bit brutal, but I loved it. I think it's Devil's Rejects up there with his best film. It's like Devil's Reject, I would say, as far as a coherent story that flows pretty well, that's his best one. Visually, it's like a toss-up between Lords of Salem visually and House of a Thousand Corpses visually. And I think the Halloween movies are just okay. You know? They're not as offensive as some purists out there make them to be. I think his Michael was far more scarier, but not as, I guess, supernatural as the original. Okay, so I have 2 politicians. I need to get 1 more to unlock the boss fight. We're just breezing through this. Yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses was a pretty big deal. I believe it was banned in German theaters or something along those lines. And my friends at the time, like, I did hang out with juggalos when I was younger because they were my neighbors and they were cool dudes, but we had that, like, mutual appreciation for horror films. They're like, oh, you gotta see this. It's so out of control. And I sat down and I watched it, and it's like a big hodgepodge, like, of experimental films, with some a German expressionist period things going on in it. And it took me a couple of watchings to finally appreciate it. Like, I don't think I appreciated it until I was in my 20s. When I was younger, I was just like, what the fuck is this? I didn't think I was ready for it at the time. I have met some of the actors from House of a Thousand Corpses. Sid Haig, who plays Captain Spaulding. He was at a convention. And then Bill Moseley, who plays Otis Driftwood. Okay, so now I've gotten 3 politicians, so that means I have to fight the first boss. I think. I love this soundtrack. I want to rip this soundtrack from the game and host it on my channel. I don't even know my character's name. He's just some redhead dude with purple shoes. Such an interesting avatar to choose for your game. That House of the Dead font, yep. That's where they ripped it off from, huh? That's okay. I think it's like Chiller font. Or at least it's pretty close to Chiller font. Have I ever seen The Begotten? No, I haven't. But I will add it to my watching queue. I'm always looking for new horror movies to watch. Dude, are these purple Crocs? That's what I want to know. I don't see any laces on them. So I'm thinking he's just wearing purple Crocs, which would be the world's first protagonist in Crocs, maybe? I guess that would be a interesting video game tidbit. Okay, so this is about to get crazy. They put up all these gates, and I have to drive all the way to the boss. And I remember what the boss looks like, too. I think it's just a giant worm or something. We'll find out shortly. Here it comes. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I think I just have to charge into its face. Okay. Okay, that didn't work. That didn't work. So I found its body, so I have to drive over to its mouth and just drive into it. Ooh, I just missed it. It does appear on my radar, which is helpful. Okay. I guess I have to boost into its mouth. But I didn't develop my rocket engine, so I don't know how many boosts I'm given or what the recharge time is like. Let's just crash into its body. Okay, that's not a good idea. I might actually have to do some grinding and upgrade my vehicle because this puny little thing isn't doing any damage at the moment. Alright, I think I might just have to forfeit this match here, because I was not prepared to take on this worm. I just stumbled upon that politician. I think I only get one boost with this engine, which sucks, because that's my primary mode of attack. How do I recharge that? Okay, I'm just gonna let the worm kill me so I can upgrade my engine. Because I'm just in no shape to fight this dude. Absolutely no road damage. Nope, it puts all the pebbles back into place after it crawls out of the ground. But I upgraded my defense, so it's going to take a while for me to die. Come on, dude. I'm getting there, though. Kill me, please. That barely does any damage. Like running into its face. There we go. Maybe if I just run into guardrails. Alright. We're almost there. When will this game get an HD remaster? Come on, D3, what's taking so long? It's been about 10 years. Hey, Miles, what did you do with your weekend? Well, I spent about an hour trying to drive an ambulance into a giant centipede so I could kill myself. Oh! I found the way to kill it, guys. I gotta wait for him to extend all the way out and I attack its side. Well, I didn't have to kill myself at all. Let's see if I can still beat him in this shitty condition. Nope. He got a bite there. Yeah, I might as well get the rocket engine. There's no point in trying to fight him with this. I mean, I can give it my best shot. Hey, I'm doing damage. Just constantly backing up into him. I might as well just take him out. Why waste this run? Why waste the frames, as they would say? Here we go. Come on, dude. I did it. I did it. Sure. Looks dead to me, right? Okay, hopefully it returns me back to the base, because that really fucked me up. Good. Now let's get some serious zombie grinding going on here. So far, I've only killed 427 zombies. This is my least favorite Ill Bleed boss. I'm so glad you brought up Ill Bleed, Wild Potato. That is my favorite Dreamcast game. That boss in particular is my least favorite. I think it's... I like that it took Tremors. Like, it was inspired by Tremors, that boss fight. But I didn't like how many times, like, you would have to encounter that stupid little worm before you could actually do any damage to it. But every other boss fight in Ill Bleed is just a gift from God. I'm so glad they exist. Ill Bleed is always a joy to play. Okay, let's upgrade this engine a little bit. Also, it's my least favorite Resident Evil Code Veronica boss. Any game where you can kill Sonic the Hedgehog, that's a good game. That's a quote from Scarface. Billy! Illbleed, by the way, is now an $80 to $90 game. It's gone up in price like crazy. Like crazy. And when I bought it, it was like $7. Nobody wanted it. Did Game Grumps play it or something? Did the word get out already? I almost picked up a second copy of Illbleed just so I could have a backup one. But for whatever reason, I didn't. I think I was like in the mindset of, you know what? I'm going to leave this here, and hopefully somebody who will actually play it and enjoy it will be able to experience this, you know? Typically, I don't buy multiples of a game. Like one game, I'll buy the game, and then, you know, I'll leave the rest for someone else. Unless it's just like some absolutely insane deal that I can't pass up and I'll never be able to find again. But for the most part, I've been leaving more games behind than picking them up. Yeah, Shenmue's price is ridiculous because Shenmue 3 was announced, but now it's gone back down in price. It used to be a $15 game. Okay, now I gotta go back to the hospital so I can get my new engine. And I love Shenmue. I think it's a great ambitious game for the time. But all these dudes who've like watched all these guys in their 20s or these hipster bros come in and wax poetic over Shenmue, saying, oh, it's so great, it's revolutionary. Like, you have to be a certain type of gamer that has a lot of patience to sit down and play Shenmue in the modern era. So all these dudes who watch YouTube and go back and play Shenmue, they're going to be greatly disappointed by how slow that game is. I love it. I love the slowness to it. I like all the rich detail in that world where you can pick things up and observe them, play some Lucky Hit, feed a cat, go into the arcade and fight Chai. That shit is great to me. But your average, like, millennial Joe Schmo that comes in after watching some dude, like, talk about how it's his favorite game, they're just not going to appreciate it in the same way as playing it back in 2001, you know? Or 2000. Wild Potato Industry says soon Bug Island will be $200. Oh my fucking god, I hope so. I hope so. That game... If you haven't watched anything from my channel, one of the best live streams I did with David for I Don't Want to Play This was our Escape from Bug Island one. I've actually sat down and I've played through that entire game, cover to cover, and I've 100%ed that game before. It is by no means a perfect game, and it feels like it's a simple series game. I don't know. I saw it when it came out during the launch of the Wii, and there was like a giant drought of Wii games, and I picked it up. And I loved it. I thought it was so fucking ridiculous that I loved it, but it's also not a good game. You know? That's what I would say about like 80% of the games I talk about. They're not really a good game. by AAA standards, but you will enjoy aspects of them. You have 5 different versions of Resident Evil 3 or 2. I have more versions of Resident Evil 2 than I do 3. I have the Game.com version, the Nintendo 64 version, the PC version, the PlayStation 1 version, the Dreamcast version. I do not own the GameCube version. And am I forgetting something? Does the Umbrella Chronicles count? Yes, I have many versions of Resident Evil 2 as well. The Game.com version is just a masterpiece. I'm so glad it came out for a calculator-like device. Wild Potato says he got Bug Island at a swap meet in 2007. I would fucking love to go to a swap meet. The only swap meets they have here in Kansas City, it's at an old movie drive-in, and you have to kind of go out of your way to get there. And it's always just like some Mexican dude with a table full of shoes and Mexican porn. And I like both of those things. But when I go out of my way to a swap meet, I'm there for video games, you know? And they never have any good video games. It's always just like NFL Quarterback Club 2000. You know, it's nothing great. I think smartphones killed the swap meets and the Goodwills and the retro game stores as far as finding something good at a reasonable price. You got to be like me. You got to play the games that nobody wants. Then you'll be okay. Play the games that nobody wants and you'll never be bored a day in your life. Hikikomori Media. I would say that, honestly, I did get a whole bunch of good NES deals. I would say right around 2009, I had like such an insane level of deals. I was getting stacks and stacks of NES games for like under $100. And then around 2010 and especially in 2011, I wasn't finding anything anymore. Just people started watching YouTube and it was just getting crazy, man. I think as much as I liked exposure towards games and like letting people know, it's also kind of detrimental to the hobby I love, because then the same people I try and invite into the hobby, like scam artists come in and they buy up all the games and they resell them, and they turn the hobby from something fun into a profit-based industry, which it is at the root of it all. But you know, some like Shenmue shouldn't cost $40-$50. Okay, it should be a $15 game, and in fact, it should be an HD release. But Yu Suzuki scooped up the Korean developer that was making the HD remaster. Holy shit, look at those rockets. So now that's been put on the back burner. Let's see. Wild Potato says his swap meets on an old racetrack. Nuker says watching Hikikomori Media makes you patrician. I don't know, man. I think it makes you an isolated nobody. Like me. A guy who's obsessed with all these weird Japanese games. Honestly, though, I live in the Midwest, and all the games I'm into, there's like maybe 3 people within my zip code that would also enjoy them. And probably less further the further west I go. Oh boy, it's May time. Degradation of a hobby. You got it, Comic-Con. That's why you gotta find something like collecting laser discs, you know? Just be that guy who is all about collecting laser discs, and then open up your own YouTube channel, and then watch your one hobby that you really enjoy become exploited and become hipster cool. And then people start buying you out of your own hobby, and then you're just like, fuck it. I'm going to start whittling. And then you start learning about whittling, and you learn about all the different types of wood, birch wood, mahogany, and all the different types of knives out there and carving utensils. And then you start showing them off on your channel, and then they start going up in price. And then there's all these limited edition knives that look like a fish, that look like a bass, and then these primo lacquered versions of mahogany that you can only get in the Pacific Northwest. And then there's all these spin-off sister channels about carving soap, and then, you know, carving things out of cheese, and then it just goes to shit and you don't care anymore. And then you sit there and you're like, fuck it, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna be the best whittling channel on YouTube. And you sit there and you download all these different transition packs, and you do your researching about the first wood carvers out there, and you get exclusive interviews with the guy who carved the Paul Bunyan in Fargo, North Dakota, and you're just sitting there and you're like, this is going to be it, it's going to drop, and you get 300 views, and then fucking what Blockhead 79 comes out and makes like a 10-minute video about how the corporate industries are fucking up the wood carving industry. And you sit there and Blockhead goes on a tirade of all these string of cuss words and does a metal voice. And then he goes, blockheads, and blocksters, whittle the fuck on, you know? And then it's over. You can't have any enjoyment anymore. All these mosquitoes came by and sapped all the enjoyment out of your one little niche that you carved out in the world. And then you walk into it, like, you know, you go into a hardware store and you see this dude in a Sonic the Hedgehog shirt come in, and he's like, did you see the angry whittlers talk about balsa wood and how it's a piece of shit? Oh man, can I have that balsa wood there on the shelf for $49.99? And you just watch it, like, and you try and tell your kid, like, you move on with your life, you have a family, and you try and tell your kid about your whittling days, and you show him your YouTube channel. He's like, what the hell is this? Whittling, that's stupid. I'm so ashamed of you. You should be embarrassed, Dad. It's all about soldering now. Soldering's what's cool. I watch Solder Guy LPs. I've learned how to rewire my fucking air conditioning, Dad. You're gonna sit there, waste your time with whittling? You're so out of touch. And then there's nothing left for you. Your passion has been exploited and raped. Your kids don't care about whittling. Monetization of whittling has been gone. You never got back what you put into the hobby. You fucking take all the wooden bears that you made and chinchillas, and you surround yourself with them, and you pour gasoline over your head, and then it's over. You opt out. Like in your last will and testament, you're like, fuck it, I want a ceramic coffin. Alright, so I got the ambulance medium. To go back on the topic of this game. I don't know, man. It's all kind of indicative of that. I mean, like, there's real dudes out there that make high quality videos and they put a lot of time into it. Like, I'm not just talking about myself here. I'm talking about the stuff that really got me to love YouTube. You know, people that just spend weeks and weeks on one video and throw it out into the abyss and don't get half the credit that they should. Versus, I've complained about this before. I feel like I'm always running in circles, but I mean, you have people out there that learn the trade, they learn how to edit, they learn how to light a set, they write a good script, you know, they teach you something, and then you have people that just sit out in a fucking Wendy's parking lot and eat a McDouble or something, and just go, this Cheetos dust that they put on here, oh, so good. And that gets millions of clicks. Like, what the fuck? Makes a guy want to just play video games by himself and say, fuck it all. We're talking about DSP. I've watched some DSP videos. Honestly, I don't watch any of his Let's Plays. I can't stand to watch really any Let's Play for that matter, but DSP's especially, like, he's just like that kind of gamer that you grew up with that always blames the game or blames the controller, blames everybody but himself. And, you know, that's kind of funny in an ironic way, but, like, this dude, that's his entire life. Like, he's got to keep up that shtick for eternity. Like, where's the drop-off point? The premise wore thin about 5 years ago, but I do have to say, I sit down and I'll watch like one of his rant videos, like where somebody's like done something really shitty to him, or something's going on in the gaming industry, and he will just sit down and just vomit out like an hour video of him just losing his mind about how he doesn't get any more ad revenue, or he's losing like Patreon subscribers, or do they call them patronizers? I guess they call them patronizers. And those are always entertaining. I can watch those, and they're pretty comfy. But, you know, I don't watch any of his LPs. I think he does have some good opinions every once in a while about games, you know, but they're not anything special, I guess. Or it's just him. Him hanging out, bitching about Street Fighter. Yes, I have watched the This Is How You Don't Play series. I think those are funny. Where people take the, I wouldn't call them highlights, but the low-light reels of DSP and string them together and kind of zoom in on the sections where he messed up or the contradictions. Those are very funny. But I don't hate the guy. I don't think there's any YouTuber that I genuinely hate. Maybe there's one or two, but for the most part, live and let live is my policy. Do I agree with how some of YouTube works? No, I don't. I think YouTube is now a pool of celebrities. Like Jimmy Fallon and John Oliver and all these people, like, you know, big companies have come into YouTube. It's no longer about the people. It's about, you know, what celebrity farted on TV. You know, it's not... And that answer was Quentin Tarantino. No, but it's more like every celebrity trying to catch on to the latest memes or the latest dances or songs or lip syncing battle. Like, I'm not into any of that. Like, I escaped to YouTube because I hated TV so much. And now I want to escape from YouTube because I'm kind of hating YouTube stuff. Like, all the trending or suggesting, like, YouTube has never once suggested me a video that I want to watch. You know, I just discover things organically based on searching for content on my own, you know? I have absolutely no idea how people have found my channel. I do the world's shittiest job of advertising Hikikomori Media. I don't shill my shit. The one and only time I posted to Reddit, I got downvoted to oblivion, and I had all these actually guys show up to my videos. I'm like, fuck, man, I don't want those dudes here. I'd rather have, like, 10 subscribers than 100 actually guys. You know, I don't know. Either people share my videos, or maybe, like, the search engine worked in my favor once or twice, but I don't know. I think this is what it is, that either people are bundling with these networks that do a lot of good promo, or a lot of people out there who have bigger channels do a lot of work on the back end to do, like, subtle viral marketing and stuff, and that shit just doesn't interest me, you know? It makes me feel uncomfortable to, like, try and suggest someone watch my video. Like, even my friends and family, like, hey, check out my video, please. Or, this is what I have to say about this thing. Like, you know, if somebody wants to watch it, they can watch it, and that's that. Comic-Con says, how can you do this? It's current year, referring to John Oliver and company. Okay, so I think I've upgraded my ambulance enough. I'm going to go to the next town over. Nuker said, I found you through my Lisa review. Thank you. I think a lot of people found me through that review, which is great. I did not know the game would be as popular as it ended up becoming. It's sadly still not as popular as Undertale, and I guess it's because it doesn't have enough furry characters or porn. Maybe it does. But I think it's a wonderful game. Still up there as, like, one of the best indie games I've ever played. Mr. D Money says, I make good quality videos. Thank you. I'm never sure unless somebody leaves a comment, so please, you know, if you like something, let me know. If you don't like something, tell me how shitty it is, and I'll try and make it better the next time around. You know, as YouTube has the thumbs up and the thumbs down system, like, that's good and all, but comments are really helpful. I do read all the comments, and I try and reply to them when I sit down. And I try not to reply to them when I have a shitty joke or I want to say something angry. Wild Potato found me from back in 1995. That, by the way, that was my one and only exclusive video that I got out before the big guys got out a video. That was the one time I've done that, and that's because I reached out to the developers. And I should probably do that more often if I ever want to grow my channel. But I don't think the developers, and you know, take this with a grain of salt, but I don't think the developers cared for my review too much. Because when I sent them an email saying, like, hey, here's my review, let me know what you think, you know, I tried to be as fair as possible. Given what back in 1995 ended up becoming, and I got nothing. And nothing, yeah, when you don't get a reply back after you've had regular correspondence with somebody, that usually tells you what they think of your video. So I had to extrapolate from there. But I will be playing back in 1995 again for the channel when they release the expansion. Okay, so I just got the highway tires, so we're going to see what those are like. Yeah, so whenever I whenever that expansion comes out, expect me to talk about it and put out a video. I can't see it getting any worse, let's put it that way. I didn't hate back in 1995. I thought it was really visually cool. It's a good game visually, because it does capture that aesthetic, but it had a lot of problems, which you can watch in my video if you haven't. You could always make trash on Shidio like me and get all the sexy YouTube pennies. What are you talking about? I make shitty films all the time. If you watch closely, you'll see all the shit that I dump. They should call me Hikikomori YouTube Poops. Okay, so now I've got to go all the way to the next town over, but holy shit. I'm going super fast now. Wow. That is a lot faster. And I can drift with these tires. This is great. Okay, I can't go through that one. Back in 1995, 64 3DS. I will check that out if it ever does come out. I know the Steam expansion is coming out first, so that's what I'm going to play first. I don't know what to expect for the 3DS version. Hopefully, it's fairly priced. If it's still just a short. Okay, so this is the other side of town. Oh, the big zombies are out too. Okay, so I can now pick up 3 people at once. But I gotta watch out for these big zombies, because they can do some heavy, heavy damage. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can just go on back. We're gonna play it safe, because this is my first run into this town. This side of town. Yeah, back in 1995 is supposed to come out for 3DS and potentially Vita. I know the developer Ichijo Takaki, he had one of the builds was on the PlayStation Vita at one point, and for some reason that didn't come to fruition. By the way, I definitely know the developer doesn't like me. I think he's really mad that I put out my review. That's one thing that's kind of shitty is, like, I'm not saying that, like, I even said in my review, like, the dude has potential to make something good. Like, I could definitely see where he was going with that with that game. But when somebody puts their time and energy into something, and I didn't trash it. I think there's a difference between criticizing and trashing. Like, most of the YouTubers out there that are pretty popular, they'll like, oh, this game fucking sucks, it's dog dick, whatever. That's not real analysis, you know? When I criticize, it's always with the mindset of, like, I see something in this and it could be better if this were different, you know, in this area. I'd love to play it on my Vita too. My Vita is like my most played system, believe it or not. And that's because I remote play a lot of games to it from my PS4. Like, I played I Am Setsuna on my Vita in my bed as I had wanted to play through remote play. I really wish the PS3 had better remote play. Or at least you had compatibility with the old PS3 games in some form or another with the Vita, because the Vita is such a comfy system. It's so comfortable to play in bed. Like, if a visual novel comes out on the PS4, PC, and Vita, I always go Vita, because the Vita is just perfect for gaming. It's just a shame it never picked up. Nuker mentions that people throw fits like Phil Fish and stuff like that. I don't think, like, Phil Fish is, like, such a unique case. I think he was, like, the first awareness that many people had of pretentious developers. And just because somebody develops a game you like, or has developed a game, doesn't mean you have to like them as a person. Like, Hideki Kamiya is kind of like a douchebag in many forms or another, and I think he's funny. He's not really a good person. We're going by, I don't know, Puritan values, which I'm not, but I love his games. I mean, Hideki Kamiya could murder somebody and I'd still like his games. It wouldn't influence my opinion on him whatsoever. Hideki Kamiya could be a Nazi and put swastikas all up in Bayonetta 3, and I'd still be like, well, this is kind of racist, but it's a good game. It's got tight gameplay and solid frame rate, so can't argue there. For me, like, I like to find out good things about developers, or find out, like, little tricks they've done in their career to make it where they are, like a success story. Like Swery65, like, I love keeping up with him and seeing what he's doing and how he networks, and watching his conferences, because he goes into his process of making a game. And that stuff really interests me. Like, where inspirations or influences come from. Because, like, the more you share your influences and the more you talk about, I guess, your ideas behind a game, that benefits, like, the entire gaming populace. Like, other developers can become inspired too. Or, you know, people can at least get the word out there for your game. Okay, we're gonna try and get 3 at 1. Yeah. Hideki Kamiya is a legendary shit poster. Probably the best of his kind. I'd love to see how big his block list is. I'd love to one day become a part of his block list. I love how Hideki Kamiya is, he's married, but he's always like retweeting Bayonetta cosplayers or really cute Japanese women. He doesn't give a single fuck. I bet that's what he does when he's like at work. He just spends all his fucking time on Twitter yelling about how people love his games and giving him compliments and asking him funny questions. Like, I wonder what his worldview of the West is. I bet it's extremely racist for a Japanese man. But I understand, like, if I had to read, like, if Japanese dudes were tweeting at me all the time, like, asking me my thoughts on, like, Resident Evil 2 or Devil May Cry, like, nonstop, I would probably be like, fuck, man, just leave me alone. Mr. D Money says he didn't like working at Capcom. I guess he can join the crowd. It doesn't seem like anyone enjoyed working there. When I met Keiji Inafune, he gave a conference. Basically, he was subtly saying how much he didn't like working there, and how like every day he was just kind of counting it down. Because I think he had a feeling right around the time Dead Rising 2 came out that he was going to exit soon. That's why he handed off development to the Canadians and kind of oversaw it, but didn't really. It's a real shame about Mega Man Legends 3. I did purchase my 3DS for that very reason. I'm not even kidding. I bought my 3DS the moment Mega Man Legends 3 came out. The launch games I picked up were Lego Star Wars and Super Street Fighter 4 3D. Both of which I didn't really enjoy. But I did pick it up for Mega Man Legends 3 and waited and waited and waited. Not to say I didn't have a good time with my 3DS, or I still don't. Like, I enjoy my 3DS quite a bit. And I got into Monster Hunter around that time. So there was always that. You know, a good Capcom game. But I have zero faith in Keiji Inafune as far as Red Ash is concerned. I think, you know, Kamiya had some solid points there. That maybe we shouldn't idolize the one guy, just one guy. Maybe it was a case of many talented minds coming together to create Mega Man Legends. And I mean, like, let's be real. When Mega Man Legends came out, I was in the 4th or 5th grade. And it was great because it was a 3D game, open world somewhat, on the PlayStation, and there weren't many of those. It was kind of like a Nintendo 64 game on the PlayStation, and it did get a 64 port. And it was like the first Mega Man game that I truly loved. But now that games have evolved so much, I just don't know if it has its place here in 2016. You know, there's people that have the fond memories, and that's an audience, but to capture a new audience like Mighty Number 9 was attempting to do, didn't pan out. So Red Ash, who is it for? Is it going to be locked to a somewhat grid lock-on system like it was in Mega Man Legends? Are there going to be towns, stuff to buy, cities to save? Like, is it just going to be mission-based? I'm not saying I won't check it out or I'm opposed to it. I think its course has run. And I feel that the same way about Shenmue 3. Oh god, for some reason I'm glitched out here. Oh god, I'm glitched out. Okay, we're good. I feel the same way about Shenmue 3. It feels like too little too late. And that whatever like concept in your mind or your dream scenario for Shenmue 3 or what Shenmue 3 could have been, it's not going to meet up with the end result, you know? Shenmue was a product of its generation and it was revolutionary then, but all the concepts that Suzuki invented have now been stolen and borrowed and improved upon in games like Yakuza. So now, like, he has an even bigger responsibility. He's got, like, 2 really big hurdles at this point. Yu Suzuki has not only got to make the old fans happy, but he's got to impress new people. And I don't know. It's been a little too quiet on the Suzuki end. I don't think it's going to meet 2017. I don't know if it'll meet 2018. Maybe it might have to be episodic. Because the original Shenmue was supposed to be 6 games long. And that somehow was supposed to recoup the losses from the Saturn version. And the Dreamcast version. But that's obviously not going to happen. It looks like Suzuki might have to put all of his ideas into just one game. Or maybe he'll leave it like open-ended like Shenmue 2. You just backed, Nuker says that he backed Red Ash. Did you? Well, I hope it lives up to your expectations, my friend, if you did. I'm going in, if I play that game, I will have 0 expectations. I will not expect it to be anything like Mega Man Legends. Not after the shit show that was Mighty Number 9. That, and as I said, like, Mega Man Legends was a product of its generation. I don't know if it will translate well. Oh, you back something else and you're gonna be in a game? Shit, yeah. I've always wanted to do something like that. I mentioned it in my Lisa review that one of the backer rewards was having a playable character and NPC inside Lisa, the Painful. Had I had known about it just a few months before, I would have definitely thrown some money at it. If Austin Jorgensen ever opens up another Kickstarter for something like that, you know I'd be throwing some money at it. That's like a once-in-a-lifetime deal. Once-in-a-lifetime deal to be in a video game. That's like my fucking dream, to be a part of a video game. Like either assisting in development, or having a character, an original contribution, like writing something for a video game. I would just be happy to be there in some capacity. Even just like a special thanks. Like, hey, thank you. That would be cool. It's a mix between Smash Brothers and Armored Core? That sounds pretty badass. Will you be able to, like, will there be celebrity robots in there? Will they have some Gundams? Will they have Big O? Eva? What are we talking about here? And it's Chinese, huh? Dude, these tires make me go super fast. I'm loving it. Alright, let's check my stats, because I haven't checked up on it. So I got some new civilians in my base. Oh yeah, my friend was saying something funny. Said the tap water tasted different. I mean, some people are still alive out there? We've got to save them, but I'm so scared. I think there's a sick dude at my base. And I have to get rid of him, otherwise he'll attack some people. Oh, I didn't know I could run too. Look how fast this dude runs. I love it. The frame rate still runs at a consistent 60 frames. How do they do it? So the more zombies I kill, the better the research gets. Let's see what I can develop. We've got a new mechanic, so we can now develop the grip tires, the wing bumper, and the medical lights. As soon as I finish the industrial lights, I'm going for that wing bumper. That sounds fun. Yeah, if you guys ever see any cool Kickstarter projects out there or Indiegogo worth supporting, let me know. I own a few Gundam games. I tweeted out a couple of them that I owned the other day. So if you check my Twitter, you should see a video of me talking about some of the Gundam games I have. Alright, I'm going to kill some zombies. I'm going to kill enough for the development, rescue some dudes, and then start on the wing bumpers. Guys, why didn't this game come out to America? It's so good. You have no idea how long it took me to get this up and running again. I had to seek out the ISO for this game, and it's not an especially common game. Then I had to take an old IDE to USB cable and configure the software to dump it and drop it on and test it out and get everything perfect. I've been thinking about this game all freaking week, and I'm so glad I get to finally play it. Okay, I'm going to go around the block a couple of times and kill me some zombies. So we got some big dudes over here. They take a couple of hits to kill. I wonder if I'm just going to get a giant battle tank by the end of this game. How crazy is it going to get? I think I found my problem, though. My car moves too fast that the zombies can't spawn in time. Holy shit. And the rocket boosters, too. Like, some of the zombies can't come out of the ground fast enough for me to get them as part of my combo. So that could be a big problem later on. Especially when I'm trying to grind for new items. Mr. D Money, I'm playing this through Free McBoot, but I did find an official HD loader disc at a pawn shop. So I started with the HD loader disc, and then from there I used some tools to load in Free McBoot and update everything. So my HD loader is now compatible with almost every PS2 game out there, which is great. And there is a decent PS2 emulator out there too. on the PC, and I can run it. I just haven't really fucked around with it too much. Like, I do like playing on the original console because I can use my original controllers, and I don't know. It's going to run as optimal as it should, you know? And I won't have to worry about glitches or things of that nature. Like HD, I could give or take. It doesn't matter. There's really not much the PC could do to make this game look any better. If we're being really honest. Okay, I'm going to go really slow so I can take out some zombies. Okay, that's good enough. I should be able to head back to the hospital now. We'll go one more around the block. And then I'm going to leg it back. Oh my god, get off the car, get off the car. There we go. I get one off and another one comes on. Okay, we're going to head back around. Oh, fucking... Really? These zombies just deal out so much damage. Oh. That's going to be a close one. Good thing I got my rocket jets on. I don't know if we're going to make it back in time. We'll see. Because she's about to turn into a zombie. I got probably 12 seconds to get back there. Or I can find a medical pickup. I know there's one in the middle of the park. Ooh, she's getting close. She's getting so close. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm right here, too. Oh, she's munching on me. She's munching on me. Oh, Jesus. I didn't know that could happen. Apparently, I had to wiggle her out of the ambulance. Whoops. That's only 2 game overs. For a 2-hour stream, that's a pretty good ratio, I think. But I think it picks up where I left off, so that's nice. Nope, I gotta kill 53 zombies. Son of a bitch. Yeah, free McBoot. I've had that on my memory card. Oh, geez. Since, I want to say 2008? Maybe a little later. It's the shit. My PS2 collection is my biggest collection of games, so I honestly don't pirate too many games at all. They actually come from my personal collection, and I just like being able to dump all my games onto my hard drive and play them without having to worry about the disc rotting or getting scratched up or the laser being worn out. My very first PS2 that I ever bought with my hard-earned savings, it was one of the first generation models, and the laser died out on it, and I was depressed, like fucking in myself. I was so sad because I loved my PS2, and I was so close to beating the bouncer. But I eventually did get one of the later revisions of PS2s so I could enjoy my library. It took a while to save up for a second PS2, I'll tell you that much. And now I have a couple of PS2s and a PS2 Slim because they're dirt cheap nowadays. Hey, Zach Guyver. Welcome. Memento City's here. Spooky stream. Only the spookiest here on Hikikomori. We're playing the zombie virus here. Well, the PS2's the first couple of generations of PS2 systems had really bad lasers. So that's why I recommend anyone who has a fat model PS2 to just go ahead, get a IDE hard drive, get the network adapter, get free McBoot, treat yourself. Because, you know, you want your systems to last as long as possible. And that's a really good way to protect your investment, is an HD loader. And also you get to play gyms like the zombie virus. It's a win-win situation. Okay, so I'm going to develop these lights, and then I'm going to equip these lights, and then I'm going to start development for my next project, which will be the wings. Alright, Comic-Con. Sleep tight, bud. Don't let the hangover bite you in the morning. Sleep tight. Don't let the hangover bite. Go drink some dandelion and burdock soda. Because that's what you drink in Great Britain. Oh my god, get off. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to head back to the hospital. So we're going to do a quick little shortcut here. I always run into the same corner. I don't know what it is with that corner, but I love it apparently. Here we go, here we go, here we go. In the circle. There we go. Hope that dad comes back one day. I have issues. Don't we all? Don't we all? Alright, so I got the industrial lights. I wonder what they look like. Let's modify here. So, goodbye Ghostbusters lights. Is it just a giant square? Let's see what it looks like. That's so weird. Huh. You can barely notice them up there, but it's that little square up top. Okay, let's get another project in development while I go rescue some people. I think it was the wing bumper that I really wanted to try. 160 zombies. That shouldn't take too long. You want me to check out a game you supported on Kickstarter? Sure. If you ever want to send me suggestions or whatever for the channel or just some funny shit you found, you can always tweet at me on Hikikomori Media. I read everything that's tweeted at me, for better or worse. And I always check my Twitter, so... I had a couple of people message me through YouTube, and I forget that YouTube has a messaging thing, and I rarely check that. But Twitter, I always check. I also have a Tumblr, but I don't check that very often either. I only post, like, shit on Tumblr. Like, every time I make a new video, I'll post that video, and that's about it. Okay, so I think I need 3 more politicians before the next boss fight. Which I should get here since I got, what, 3 capacity on this new ambulance? Okay, let's try out this new light. Oh, okay, it's a circular light. That's actually really cool. Oh, there's so many people here. We got a military dude. Let's go up into this corner over here. Here, we got a police officer. And I'm just a civilian. Nice. Is this the perfect spoopy game? Is this like the spoopiest game out there? Are you scared? You should be. You should be. I wish Crazy Taxi had some upgrades going for it. I like playing Crazy Taxi on the actual arcade. There's this bar downtown that's kind of one of those game... I think it's like a gamer arcade or something like that. It's just like a... I think they call it a tapcade. But they have a working Crazy Taxi machine. And I could play that for hours. It's just so fun. When you get a really good wheel. And I do have a decent wheel for my Dreamcast, so I'd like to bust that out one day. Actually, I'll probably be busting it out soon when I get my HDMI upscaler. Any sort of arcadey racer I'm into. Like, I'm more into Outrun and I'm more into Crazy Taxi than I am, like, the simulators like Gran Turismo. Mr. D Money. I got a Dreamcast VGA cable, and it's a VGA to HDMI upscaler. So it converts the analog audio from VGA to HDMI, which is extremely useful. Because my PC monitor, it has like a VGA port, but it doesn't have analog audio, which sucks. 18-wheeler? Yeah, I've played that. I used to play that back in the arcade as well. It had these giant seats. Giant trucker seats. And a really big wheel. As big as a pizza pie. Okay, okay. So here's all the medical supplies. I didn't know that. That'll be important for later. Yeah, so the Dreamcast, not many people know this. The Dreamcast was capable of 480p, and most of the games supported VGA mode, which allowed all the resolution came in a little better, the textures looked a little better, not as fuzzy. So I would say 98% of the Dreamcast games had VGA support, and there are a few odd ones out there that don't. So my intention was to play Illbleed through VGA for the first time, because I've always played Illbleed through composite. So I want to see what it looks like. And I want to play through it again. Is it to the south? Yeah, the Dreamcast had some decent racers on it. I know it had wacky racers on it, or wacky races. I played that. I think that was more like a Twisted Metal game, or Destruction Derby, but I could be wrong there. I'm gonna plug one of my favorite podcasts out there. If you're into Dreamcast stuff, download the Dreamcast Junkyard. It's pretty good, especially if you want to know more about like what modern Dreamcast stuff is going on out there. It's still a thriving community. And by the way, if you have any podcast suggestions, let me know, because every day that I drive to work, I listen to some new podcast to try it out. Like, I have a few regular ones I listen to, but I'm always looking for new ones. Vigilante 8. Oh, yeah, that one. Vigilante 8 was kind of like a really good Twisted Metal knockoff, but it was for, like, really, really white trash kids. And I know that because I grew up playing that game. And Twisted Metal. But I think, like, Vigilante 8 was more like fart and dick jokes, whereas Twisted Metal was more gory and graphic. Especially Twisted Metal Black. Like, Twisted Metal Black has some seriously dark things about it. I like Twisted Metal Black a lot. And I typically don't like racing games. I don't like... Well, I guess you can't categorize those as racing games. They're destruction derbies. I typically don't like games with cars. But if you can do something unique with that car, that's where you have my attention. Vigilante 8 came out on PlayStation 1, 64, and PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, and Dreamcast. I know because David from King Game David from King Game Review and I sat down and played it. And it wasn't as good as I remembered. Okay, so I got some new mechanics. I got 2 new mechanics and a female civ. So let's see if I can make anything with the new mechanics I have. Not yet. Need about 114 more zombies. Nuker says I should play the Euro Truck Zombie mod. You have to deliver the shipment of corn while zombies block your path. Every time you hit a zombie, you get written up. That is terrifying. I know that those simulator games like Farm Simulator, Truck and Train Simulators, like there are fans out there that do make zombie and survival mods for it. I think Goat Simulator spun off of that. Okay. This will be my last civilian run, and then I'm going to call an end to the stream for tonight. But I might pick this back up tomorrow because I'm having one hell of a time. There's really nothing to this game. There's no complex strategies. It's like, man, I just want to kill some shit and then earn some unlockable stuff and see what happens next. And really, that's all it takes to make a good game. It's like, make the progression worthwhile. Like, who knew by, I don't know, 2.5 hours in, I'd have a bigger ambulance with some crazy UFO light on it, 2 rockets, a bulldozer front, and some pimped out golden tires that make me go super fast. That's the same reason I love the Disaster Report series and Raw Danger, is that they just put in little touches like compasses and different articles of clothing you can wear. It's little, but it just shows that the developers had some heart behind it and they didn't try and charge you for the little things. Not that they had a system in place to do that back then, but still. Momentosity asked me, did I ever have a chance to play Resident Evil Outbreak File 2? While I was online, I didn't. I played Outbreak File 1 back when the servers were still up. And then it got re-released as part of a bundle with Resident Evil Code Veronica and Resident Evil 4. And when it got re-released, they brought back the servers. So yes, I did play when it originally came out. And I played when they brought back the servers. But I only played Outbreak File 2 offline. And I have beaten both games offline, but I haven't unlocked everything because it takes like months of playing to unlock everything there is to see. Like all the characters and costumes and little things. But I love that series. I wish it would get an HD remaster and that we could play together online. Fuck. If they ever brought, mark my words right here on the stream, hold me to this. If they ever bring back Resident Evil Outbreak online, we will start a clan and we will be playing this Hikikomori group. I'd be so down with that. What's interesting about Resident Evil Outbreak, though, is the entire game didn't have any voice chat or keyboard chat. So you would have to use gestures and hotkeys or hot commands to communicate with your party. So you'd really have to understand what the person was trying to convey to you. Or you could talk to them through, like, instant messenger, I guess. Alright, guys, thank you so much. I had like 7 people in here, which is unheard of for one of my streams. For the zombie virus of all games. It's probably because it's Friday, but guys, thank you for joining me for this cool stream. I want to play more of the zombie virus. I want to talk about this. I want to bring some more love to this game because it truly deserves some recognition. It's one of the most underrated horror games for this time of the year. I mean, like, look how much progress we had. We went from this small guy to this big dude over here. And I still have a lot more to go. So, thanks for watching as always. If you want to tweet at me, you know where the Twitter is. It's always fun. I got a great group here. Like, you dudes are really cool. And you share the same tastes, and I couldn't ask for anything more from a channel. Thanks for showing up.